lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
From Rockingham Speedway, the All-Pro Sim Racing League is ready to rock and roll at the Rock tonight. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sim Racing Media. After a dominating win last week at Five Flags Speedway, Alex Papini looks to add a third trophy to his display case tonight in what we consider to be hallowed ground in the stock car racing community. Papini is also leading our point standings with a narrow lead over Jackson Lewis, who already has 3 checkered flags to his credit this season. I'm Dave Regal alongside our fearless leader at SRM, Mr. James Riles, here in the broadcast booth, and we'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag on Sim Racing Media. And James, as always, it's a pleasure to be with you here tonight in the broadcast booth, but we've got some exciting racing coming up. As we were watching practice earlier, these drivers are definitely at the top of what's going on this week.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And very happy to be here rear Here in Rockingham Speedway at the Rock, right? But these drivers know what's going on. They're all late model drivers, most of them late model drivers in real life, so they know what's happening with this track. And I tell you what, it is going to be an absolute blast. A little bit, and a blessing almost, a little bit shorter field here today. So these drivers are really going to have an opportunity to shine and possibly have some of that long run speed we've wanted to see this whole time.
Without a doubt. And, just as I'm thinking about it here, let's take a look at our race info tonight. 64 degrees, the outdoor ambient air temperature, with a track temperature of 84 degrees. So that track going to be nice and loose for a lot of these drivers. Partly cloudy with basically just a breath of wind coming out of the west. This track, of course, 1 mile long here in North Carolina. And, so much history is locked up in this old track, if you will. I mean, some of the greatest names in NASCAR have laid laps down on this asphalt. And tonight, we consider ourselves to be thankful just to be here in this hallowed ground.
Oh, absolutely. And there's nothing really, you can say so much about Rockingham Speedway. Here in North Carolina, the birthplace of racing already. And now here in the Speedway, there on US Highway 1. 1965, this place opened 1.017 miles, and already looking like it's just going to be fast. This is a fast track no matter what you say. And I tell you, the banking here, absolutely fantastic. It is, let me make sure I got my things, 22 degrees up to 25 degrees. It's going to be crazy, especially making that transition from that 25 to that 8 degrees. You're going to get upset. These cars especially, they're going to have trouble, and these drivers are going to have an opportunity to show you how to drive today.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, these SLMs are incredible when you take them on a short track. So to put them here on this 1 miler, especially this D-shaped oval, these drivers are going to be all over the place, and they're going to be having a lot of fun while they're doing it. And speaking of having a lot of fun, make sure that you're giving us a subscribe here and a thumbs up on our YouTube page here on Sim Racing Media. We want to welcome everyone in, all of you watching right now. And thank you for making us a part of your evening, as, so much going on in the world, and you've chosen to make us a part of your night. So we're thankful for that. And James, it sounds like they're getting ready for the heats. And why don't you take us a little bit through the heat format here?
Absolutely. So what they do here, they do a really old-fashioned style. Only a certain number of vehicles are going to make this thing, and to take it to the feature, I think it's a 28. Yes, 28 drivers are going to make it to the feature. Luckily with that, I think right now they're sitting at, let me see how many drivers. There's only a couple that aren't going to make it. So what they're going to do, they're going to qualify. Those top 20 that qualify are done. They don't have to worry about it. They go to the house, they go to the garage and get ready for the feature. Otherwise, you're going to a last chance qualifier. So it's less of a heat, more of a last chance qualifier, where these drivers are going to have to get the top 8 to continue. So it's going to be a battle there in the back. But definitely something to keep an eye on is that back. Look at that 8th spot. We have had fireworks in that position. So here in about 30 seconds, you are going to see some folks that are going to, it's going to be a lot of fireworks there in the back to try and make the feature. Because if you don't make the feature, you don't get the points. So got to be careful. Got to be careful if you're running that 6th spot, because they're not too far behind you. Everybody's going to be trying to push to the front.
Absolutely. I mean, Grayson Ward, Alex Papini, Kelsey Rogers, Eric White, and Weston Ward qualifying in the top 5 for our opening heats here. And I mean, they're laying down some blistering laps at 25.08 seconds for Grayson Ward. And of course, the interesting thing there is our track record is actually held by one Mr. Rusty Wallace. Perhaps you've heard of him. And of course, the 2000.
I believe so.
Yeah. Back in 2000, he laid down a 23.167 lap. So definitely moving around for him. And I mean, our track records here at this particular track are filled with Hall of Famers. I mean, Rusty Wallace for Cup qualifying. Our race track record holder is Jeff Burton. Xfinity is Greg Biffle. I mean, the list goes on and on. However, the most recent, maybe the most current, if you will, driver to hold a record here is actually Jeb Burton back in 2013. So not too long ago, about 9 years ago, qualified in a 24.922. So, things definitely a little bit slower here in the SLMs, but overall, this place is filled with those names that we all know.
Absolutely, but another thing before we get into the heats, just some things to know about Rockingham. That banking gives and that banking takes away. These cars are going to be hitting that banking so fast that the downforce is going to slam those cars down, and it's going to unload once they come off that corner. So keep an eye. If you're trying to watch this race from the infield, you better keep your head on a swivel, because there could be cars headed your way. As I'm hearing that they are starting to get rocking and rolling. Up front is going to be right now Kyle Shear here in heat number 1. Garrett Chatoga on the inside there in the 1 spot. Then we have DJ Smith and Gleason Smith. Brent Edwards and Todd Aldridge going to be row number 3. Row 4 is going to be Trent Smith and Travis Wilson. Then we have row 5, Kevin Knudsen and Josh Nelms. Ed Papanow and Louis Robinette are there as the pace truck goes down pit road. Green flag racing. Corey Rogers going to get rocking, and Garrett Stratoga going to go all the way to the bottom with Kyle Shear up top.
And Stratoga gets all the way down there, and as he rolls it out of turn number 2, he is just down here getting ready to get down and dirty as they come thundering by our back to the corner. And as we get ready to go into turn 3, they are still side by side, pretty much from row 3 just out here. Let's see what we have. It's like Todd Aldridge here in the 118. He's on the high side. Trent Smith working the low side, doing his very best to keep it right there. And it seems like Trent Smith able to hold that position on the low side and get the edge over Aldridge.
Absolutely, and he's going to get to that bottom side, but who we really want to get focused on, head over to that 8th position and see where these drivers are. That's going to be Ed Papanow, who has to, I believe he's going to be, let's get there, only fighting with Kevin Knudsen, and they're not close. Somebody gets in the wall. That is going to be trouble. You've got to get back in the hammer, got to get back up to it. You do not want to lose a spot that way.
Fairly certain that was Ed Papanow. I could be wrong, but looks like Papanow got into the wall. Looks like he's gotten back underway here as he's drafting up behind Brent Edmonds in the 87. Drafting going to be a little bit of a part of this SLM, which, a lot of these cars, oh my goodness, Papanow getting into it with Todd Aldridge. Whoa. That's going to bring out the caution flag, my friend.
Yeah, and if one of those cars is done, that's going to be the race. All they're going to be battling for from here on out is going to be that coveted track position for these drivers. And it's looking like they kind of switched up front a little bit. And then, let's see, get that up there. Yeah, these drivers, Trent Smith up 4 positions. A couple drivers unable to make the race, but
we're going to take a look back here as we're under caution and see exactly what might have happened with Papanow and Aldridge. And we see Papanow here in the 10 machine getting right up behind the 87. And just as they roll out of 2, it looks like, the 118 drifts right up into the 10, and that is all she wrote as they spin helplessly down here onto the infield wall.
Yeah, and these late models, they can take a beating, but not like that. That is not what it's going to take. So only a few more laps here to go. 20 laps scheduled, and here we are on lap number, I can't see it. Lap number 6, there we go. Thank you. The ever-knowing Mr. Dave, I appreciate you. So, yeah, these guys getting ready to get it going. We are going to be rocking and rolling here shortly.
Take a look here at Kyle Shear on the low side in that number 36 Camel machine. That's definitely a cool paint scheme. I mean, listen, I've never been a Camel guy, a Marlboro guy myself, but I do like that yellow and purple that kind of pops a little bit.
Absolutely. And is our tower working for us?
I am trying to get it to work and maybe not look like, it kind of looks like Sanskrit right now.
Well, you work on that. We'll get it. I'll get her going here as we gonna see these guys take the green flag. Not too many laps left in this thing, folks. As the 36, Kyle Shear is gonna take an early lead, but the 177 behind him. Other than that, we're not looking at transfer spots right now. These drivers are gonna be battling out for position, getting a little bit of practice in on the race. That is all they are focused on right here on lap number 7.
And with 13 to
Kyle
go,
Shear.
with 13 to go, Kyle Shear, your race leader. Here goes Shear, Smith, Stricata. I'm going to get this right tonight. Stricata. Oh, and Trent Smith looking to the inside of Kyle Shear. He's peaks down here as we go into turn 3. They roll out of 4, and it looks like he's got just enough as he's going to hold that low line, and just behind them we've got what looks to be Edmonds here onto the apron, but your new race leader is Trent Smith in the number 3 machine here, and oh, Kyle Shear getting loose coming out of 2.
Yeah, getting loose, but they're going to be battling for that position. They absolutely don't have to. That's what I love about these guys. They're out here battling. Trent Smith and Kyle Shear. Trent's going to get a little bit loose. See that banging and beating? This track is rough, but he's going to get there at the bottom. The fastest way around the track is, of course, down at that bottom side, and he's going to get there. But Kyle Shear going to quickly try and get underneath and make it happen. Remember that it's a little bit of a progressive banking, but the higher you are, the more that car is going to slam down. So that's what's going to do it. Charles Drusette in the chat says, is DJ in this heat? Now, DJ Smith is in the heat. He is in 8th place right now. That's 6 machine. The 8 machine is in 6th place.
There you go.
There we go.
We read real good here.
We do. We read real gooder. So as he is doing well, and again, everybody here is going to make the feature right now. So you really, if you're in that 6th position, just hang out. But if you're in 3rd, Gleason Smith and Garrett Satoka are there battling it out. These guys do not care. Do not care. And Charles said there are 3 Smiths in this heat. And the leader, Trent Smith, came from the back to
loosens
do
the
it.
177. Garrett Stricata goes around here, and that puts him into the wall. Let's take a look back at that as we are 9 to go, still under green.
That's going to bring out the caution here.
It did bring out the caution. There it is. Well, we're taking a look at the replay right now, and we see the 87 creeping up onto Garrett Stricata and just gets that rear end loose. In fact, I want to take a look back at that once more.
Just a little bump. These late models, you cannot give anything, especially these suspension is already preloaded because of how tight these turns are and how they drop. You cannot bump these cars at all. They will turn around. They're so light in that rear end that it's going to go around, and these drivers know that. But when you take these cars away from the 0.5s and the 0.3s, as we go here on the bumper on the ones on the Brent Edmonds,
just a little nudge was all we needed.
Tiny little tap. And you got to think that ahead of him, Garrett, he just hit a little bump, slowed down just enough. And these late models, they're not used to the 1 mile. This is big for them. This is a big track for a late model. They're used to the small 5 flags and the Rockfords and things like that. But yeah, this is kind of like an ARCA car almost, it looks like, doesn't it, Dave?
It absolutely does. And I mean, you know, the thing is, we always talk about ARCA braking, but right there, I mean, Garrett Stricata just had no place to go. And unfortunately, boom goes the dynamite, if you will. And of course, then Brent Edmonds continued to still bump against a couple other drivers. And now it looks like we're ready to run this thing out here with 6 to go as we are back live here at the second caution. And double file as the iRacing.com pace car dives down pit road. Everybody gets that foot hovering above the loud pedal. They hit it rock and roll here in Rockingham as Trent Smith getting the jump over Kyle Shear. Smith diving down into turn 1. Side by side go Gleason Smith and Kyle Shear as they are going to battle it out for 2nd and 3rd position, as this is door handle to door handle racing with just 6 laps to go in heat number 1.
Boy, I tell you what, that 36 is going to have the most battle-hardened driver after all this. He's had to fight for first and then second. He just had to fight back for that spot. While these other drivers are getting cold in the pits, watching this heat, the ones that transferred through already on time, Kyle Shear is working on staying warm, keeping those elbows up, and just making this thing happen. That's amazing that he's able to hold back. But look at that 08, that DJ Smith, that Ritchie's Smoking Barbecue machine. And of course, Ritchie's Smoking Barbecue, I want to appreciate the sponsor that stepped up and is helping this league get out across the air. I'm telling you, if you're in Machesney Park, Illinois, check these guys out. They're fantastic, Dave. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Dave, I'm from down south. We have barbecue. You guys don't really get that good of barbecue up north, but Ritchie's Smoking Barbecue does it right, and kind of brings that southern heat that we all love so much up there to you Yankees.
You know, it's interesting that we should be talking about barbecue. I mean, listen, when I was in high school, I worked at a barbecue pit, and it is among my favorite foods. In fact, Mr. Chapasso and I have had more than one conversation on air about barbecue and our love for it. So I will definitely be checking out Ritchie's Smoking Barbecue for sure next time I'm out there.
You can get it mailed to you.
Really?
You can get it mailed to you. I'm about there. I'm about there right now. But 2 laps to go here. Trent Smith, one of the 3 Smiths in this heat, is got a pretty good commanding lead. 1 second here. And then on Kyle Shear and Gleason Smith, looks like he is going to be cruising for it to finish out this first feature. Of course, then we have DJ Smith, Brett Edmonds, and Kevin Knudsen there instead. Garrett Stratoka is going to be in that last. Papanow is going to be in the last transfer spot.
Well, you know, and as I'm looking here with the white flag in the air, 3 out of the top 5 drivers have the last name of Smith. I'm thinking that's a good sign. And the checkered flag waves. And our first heat winner is Trent Smith. As it goes, Trent Smith, Kyle Shear, Gleason Smith, DJ Smith, Brent Edmonds, Kevin Knudsen, and Garrett Stratoka, the top 7 finishing here.
So, yeah, the greats finished. Now what's going to happen? They're going to get a 5-minute warm-up. So if we have any, do you have any ads pulled up on your system there?
Do I have any ads pulled up? Of course I do. Stand by, and we will step aside and pay some bills from our good friends here, of course, at Sim Racing Media. Welcome back to Rockingham, North Carolina. Dave Regal and Mr. James Riles joining you here on Sim Racing Media. Thank you for making us a part of your evening as we are in a 5-minute warm-up period right now, James. And I'll tell you what, that first heat was something special.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of gave you what we're going to be seeing here with these late models is going to be the just the action back and forth, especially here at Rockingham. There's no middle ground here. If you're in that middle, you're putting yourself in no man's land, because when you make that transition, as we see the number 27 Grayson Ward, if you're in the middle during that transition, you're going to either get passed by the guy behind you, or you're going to be looking at a guy up top maybe getting a little bit loose and not giving him the exit that he needs, because it looks like that banking is going to help you, but when it goes back to 8% banking on the front stretch and the back stretch, that is not good on the cars, man. It will unload that suspension, and these cars are liable to get turned out of shape if you take the air off that wing.
Without a doubt. And I mean, you know, these cars are moving at a speed that we, quite frankly, don't usually get to see in these super late models, just simply because we're on a bigger track. I mean, you know, and this is a big banked track. This isn't your small backyard 3/4 mile or half mile. You know, this is a full mile around here, and it's a D-shaped oval. So there's a lot of times where these drivers are doing nothing but hanging on that wheel, trying to keep it steady as they go into turn number 1. In fact, I'm going to take a look here at the speedometer. Let's see if I can pull that bad boy up here in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Looks like Grayson Ward is doing nearly 150 miles per hour, getting ready to go into the turn. As he rolls out of 4, we're going to see him get all kinds of wound up. 145.6, so about 146 miles per hour going into turn 1. And this backstretch is something special, as we do see the 36 machine spinning down the backstretch, but again, nearly 150 miles per hour. And I mean, these cars a lot of times aren't getting much over 130 and 135.
Yeah, and that's what we're saying. These is not the super late model. This is just the regular late model. These things are meant for the small, the quick pops that these cars are supposed to do. You get a cup car out here, I mean, you're looking at probably 170, 180 minimum, but these cars are built a little bit differently. They're lighter. That you'd think that'd mean faster usually, but they cannot corner as effectively, cannot put enough of that tire patch down to really make a difference, and the suspension's a lot stiffer. So we're gonna see, but it makes for some way better racing, honestly. A little bit less of an engine, but that's the thing. It makes the driver, they've got to do more with less, and that's what we've seen all year. Speaking of, you know, Alex Papini, he won the race last week, so this week he's going to have to start at the tail. That's one thing they do. They also invert the top 10. So the folks that we usually see, you know, if you qualified first, that doesn't mean you're going to come out here and be in first. You've got to qualify. You've got to still work your way through the field up to that invert. So keep an eye on Alex Papini. There's a couple other drivers that I really want folks to go on as they're finishing up the warm-ups right now, taking those cars to the tractor trailer. So let me get up here. So we're getting ready for the longest race of the year. But Jackson Lewis is another one we really need to watch. Jackson Lewis is, I believe, I don't even know. Yep, there he is in that 7 machine once they get going. Keep an eye on him. He's got 3 wins on the season. I believe it was 3 in a row before he was dethroned by Alex Papini. So keep an eye on him, as well as Corey Rogers, always a bridesmaid. He's down 56 points, but him in 3rd. And then, of course, Willie Nelson. How could I forget? He needs to get a win out there as well. So a couple drivers, everybody getting ready. Jared Appel in the 151, going to be leading us around.
He will absolutely be leading us. There you go.
Yeah, followed by Jeremy Bingham. And then in row number 2 is going to be Anthony Donta and Randy Sargent. Jackson Lewis, Weston Ward going to be row number 3. Row 4, Eric White, Kelsey Rogers. Alex Papini is going to fall to the back, but if it was right now, it's going to be him and Grayson Ward in row number 5. Row 6 going to be Brett McCoy and Brody Byer. Row 7, Ryan Smith and Mike Winters. Of course, then we have Jaden Dahlberg and Michael Ostick there in 15th and 16th. Row number 9 going to be, let me make sure I'm here, Carter Nilsson and Corey Rogers. Zach Braun and Trent Smith, 20th and 21st. Then, of course, we have Kyle Shear and Gleason Smith. DJ Smith there in the 24th position. Brent Edmonds and Kyle Nuts in row 13. Then row 14 going to be Garrett Stratoka and Ed Papanow. Garrett has some work to do. He is currently in 5th place in the points, so he's got to get up there and make some things happen.
Well, you know,
I tell you,
starting shotgun on the field, you know, like Garrett Stracata would be right now. I mean, he's already going to be gaining a few positions because of guys getting moved to the back of the field. But right now, all the pressure is going to be sitting on Jared Appel as, we're getting ready to go green here. About another lap of pacing, but Jared Appel here in the 151. That's looking like a sharp car right now, and I got to be honest. I'm thinking to myself, you've got to find that one paint scheme that sticks out tonight. And so far, it's definitely sitting here on the front row, that 151 machine of Jared Appel. Also, Kelsey Rogers here, the 136 pay-to-win paint scheme. I'll tell you what, me personally, I do use the pay-to-win, and here in the late models, the pay-to-win setups are fantastic. So make sure that you head on over to the pay-to-win setup shop and check them out. The old school Miller paint scheme here of Eric White. So a lot of good drivers out here, a lot of cool paint schemes, man.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about these paint schemes. Like I said earlier, a lot of these drivers are late model drivers in real life, as they're going to get ready to get there. The green flag we'll cover back, but a lot of these drivers run these paint schemes IRL, as Jared Appel is going to be taking the green flag here shortly. Pace truck going to go down, dive down pit road, and Jared Appel going to strap the seats and get rocking with Jeremy Bingham on the outside as the green flag is out. Let him spool up and let him run.
Ladies and gentlemen, grab some popcorn and settle in. We're green flag racing at Rockingham as Jared Appel takes us down into turns 1 and 2. He gets a great jump over Anthony Donta. We're all but 3 wide here as, my goodness, Jackson Lewis holding the low side under the 510. We've got one around as Carter Nilsson just seems to have about bought it here. And it looks like we are going to be under caution for the first time tonight. Going to take a look back and see what happened.
That is unfortunate. And it starts just that early. We've seen this all year with these drivers. I guess when you come to the IRL and then you come to iRacing, there's a little bit more leeway. As, ooh, that was rough. But they're going to keep it going. They're trying to bunch it up. They're saying, we're going to go 1 to go. You guys better figure it out. As they're not playing around. They want this race to be as quick as possible. We can get that.
I'll tell you what, one of the more thankless jobs in all of sim racing has got to be race control. As the iRacing.com pace truck crosses the start-finish line, the lights stay on, so we will still have 2 laps before we go back green. And I just want to take a moment here and look back at that wreck that Carter Nilsson was involved in. And as we go back, we see the 130 here of Zach Braun just working the inside of Carter Nilsson on the high. And I'll tell you what, Braun sends everybody all kinds of squirrely. Ryan Smith involved, and it's just not natural. I guess it's one of those times we can be thankful that we're here in sim racing land instead of the real world, because my goodness, someone is going to the infield care center after that incident. Yeah,
especially in short track racing, like, you're trying to rake around the 50, and the 130 just tried to get into a spot that wasn't there, and that's what we're gonna see a lot of is just there's not a lot of patience on the iRacing service, for good reason, right? You load in here, you want to get to the front. You're not paying for sheet metal, you might as well get up there, but a little bit of patience is going to get these guys to the front. Ask guys like Jackson Lewis, who started in 5th and has already found his way up there to that 2nd position. Which right now, I'm not sure why there he is. He's actually in 3rd. So some of these drivers working, of course, Alex Papini, he's in 22nd. He started at the very bottom, so that's going to be a little skewed. But he's up a couple of positions from where he started. Those are my 2 to watch every single race. But of course, DJ Smith, another one. But Jared Appel, he's been up front. He's made things happen all season long. He needs to get that hump off his back and get himself a win.
Without a doubt. And I mean, one of the hardest things that we deal with all the time in the iRacing service is patience. As, here's the thing. You've seen yours truly sitting out there on the racetrack, and I might be running a great race, and then all of a sudden, you just get a little antsy. But single file, we restart here as the iRacing.com pace truck off the track, and we are back underway. as Jared Appel takes off, and we are green flag racing once again. It goes Appel, Donta, Lewis, Bingham, Ward, Ostiak, and Kelsey Rogers here rounding out the top 8. So far, so good on the restart. No real issues here as we are side by side. The 27 of Grayson Ward trying to get up behind Weston Ward, as Weston Ward on the high side just barely holding off Grayson. And I mean, these guys, they're hungry, man. 75 laps is not a lot of time, especially when you're running 23-second laps. And now, all of a sudden, Michael Ostiak wants to get into this, and it looks like somebody's got a connection issue here. Hopefully they get that squared away. But Ostiak in the 18 starting to drift back as he's about to be overtaken by Kelsey Rogers.
Yeah, and that's something these guys are going to have to look at. It looked like the top line is just not enough horsepower to make that top line work. You've got to roll on the bottom. It's not affecting the tires too much. As we know, here in the late model, they are not going to change tires unless they absolutely have to, as though that car is having a lot of trouble. Let's focus on, let's maybe keep an eye. Let's see what Alex Papini's up to. It looks like he's already up to 18th as he started in the back.
Well, you know,
of that 28 machine.
From what I was watching and checking out pre-race, because of course this is a special appearance for me. This is kind of a nice night for me to settle in here. But I was looking at some of Alex Papini's stats, and I mean, here's a guy who just absolutely takes his time, works his way through the field, and he's going to go out here and lay some laps down. He's going to go out here, make sure that he's hitting those marks time after time after time, and letting everybody else beat their equipment out, which ultimately is going to open the door for him to make those advancements like we've seen already.
Absolutely, and he's really got to do that in a way that's going to get that car around there, and it's hard to pass here at Rockingham. He's going to have to, someone's going to have to make that top line work.
You know, and we're waiting to see that person reveal themselves, and, you know, at this stage in the race, you know, 10 laps in, we're kind of at a period where do you want to try to take that chance on the top line, or do you want to try to keep cooking those tires on the low side? You know, these late model cars, once those tires get themselves all slick and smooth, there's no way to hold this thing together, and it feels like you're basically on top of ice. And speaking of which, we see Weston Ward getting challenged by Grayson Ward again, diving into turn 3 as they are side by side. The door handles getting ready to be ripped the rest of the way off, just in case the side of the car wasn't smooth enough. They're ready to do it again, and it almost looks like Grayson Ward trying to force Weston up toward the wall, scared him a little bit, and maybe all of a sudden we're going to see Weston Ward try to make that top line work as he gets loose coming out too.
Yeah, and I mean, if anyone's going to try it, it's going to be him. He's going to work that top line, try to get right down into Ostiak. That was close. These cars are not made for that contact, but he's going to look to the inside of the 136. And you just got to trust, because if you push in that top line, it's going to be hard to make it back down. But that front right has got to be breathing as, oh, look at Ostiak. Testing it out, but not wanting to go right now. And that's what we're seeing, guys, just leaning on each other. It's a long race. 75 laps here at Rockingham is not a short one for these guys. But look at who's up front. Jackson Lewis, points leader before Alex Papini won last week, now pushing to the front. It seems like these guys are just going to trade blows all season.
No, and everything that you had talked about early on as we were getting set for pre-race here. In fact, I'm going to sit here right at the exit of turn 2, if I can. There it is. We're going to watch just about everybody on the next lap get themselves loose coming out of turn 2. It has got to be daunting, if you will, you know, to be able to hold it together coming out of 2 onto that 8-degree banked backstretch there here at the Rock. And ladies and gentlemen, glad to have you with us tonight on YouTube. I'm Dave Regal, he's James Riles, and this is Sim Racing Media. You're watching Ritchie Smokin' Barbecue's All-Pro Late Model Series here. Make sure that you subscribe, turn on those bell notifications, give us a shout in our live chat, as we're always glad to hear from you as we're getting ready. And just taking a look now at everybody sliding out of turn 2. James, it almost looks like they're sideways. It's almost drifting.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what's happening is they're unloading that suspension, right? They come from that 28-degree banking outside at turns 1 and 2, and they unload that suspension. It loosens up that rear, and once all the fuel goes down, that's another thing. These drivers, there's less weight in the rear end of these cars. It's already light. You'd think 1 and 2 is bad. Wait until they get to 3 and 4. Those inside rain barrels are going to be absolutely slaughtered by the end of this thing. And you already see the 510 getting a little bit loose on this old asphalt. But it's all in the suspension, right? It's all about how these cars are handling. They're not used to the longer tracks, and you can definitely see it here as we look into the very long race for these machines, as we are only on lap 18 of 75.
You know, it's interesting you should say this old asphalt. I mean, you know, of course, I know Dale Jr. has Lost Speedways available on Peacock streaming, but I feel like this old asphalt is like the PBS version of that. Get it? This old house,
Yeah.
This old asphalt. You see what I did there?
I did. Yeah, I see. But but you're right. Right. This is the old style. It's the rock. It's from back in the day. We want them to bring it back, right? But it's just so rough on the drivers. Luckily in the sim we don't have that issue. But one thing we're seeing, Jackson Lewis stepping it out. But where is Alex Papini? This is not one of the tracks where these drivers are going to be able to start in the back and make it to the front as normal. Just because of how long the track is, it's going to be rough for that 28 machine to try and get back up to the front. Again, I want to shout out our sponsors. Of course, Ritchie Smokin' Barbecue. If you're in the McChesney Park area, give them a holler. They have some absolutely fantastic barbecue. And of course, J Ray's Beef Jerky. You can hit them up. Go to their Facebook page, go to their website. They will actually print out your logo on a thing of jerky, and you can put that out at your next meeting, your next trade show, whatever you go to. Don't hand out a pen. That's lame. Don't hand out anything else, a little bag, stress ball. Hand out some jerky. People will absolutely remember that. Of course, that's J Ray's Jerky. You can Google them, help them out. But just shout out to the sponsors. But yeah, Jackson Lewis, Alex Papini, but Anthony Donta, that 510, that green machine has made it up to second place. He's been there all race, but it is just interesting to see these guys not trading shots that we've seen in the previous weeks. Kind of a super speedway for them, if you will. That 1 mile looking to be very hard to handle, as we see in the background Jeremy Bingham there trying to make it past Grayson Ward.
No, and Bingham doing his very best here in the 9 machine. That's odd. I'm seeing the 66, but anyway. Jeremy Bingham, see, now my brain just had to go for a hard reset there. And Jeremy Bingham being passed by Kelsey Rogers in the 136, holding his own weight there. Was down 4 positions from where he had started this race, up in second position, but still trying to hold his own. You know, a lot of these drivers, we're starting to see a lot of movement out of. Michael Ostiak here in the 18, up 9 spots. Also, Kyle Shear up 9. It seems like that's the magic number for being the big mover. Of course, the unfortunate thing is the big mover in the wrong direction is Eric White, who was involved in that scrum earlier. So, you know, we can see some front-end damage here. Obviously, no time for repair, as he's got that Ford Fusion as wound up as he possibly can. And at this point, go out there, laps and laps, and do the best you can. But our big mover so far, the magic number being 9 tonight.
Yeah, that Miller draft car is looking really. That's not a 9. That's a 6 car. Eric White, excuse me. But Jeremy Bingham, yeah, he's moved up. Eric, what are we doing? It's the biggest loser is a 6.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, you know, I got to be honest. Since we were just talking about that 6 car of Eric White, you know, I usually am a Yingling person. Of course, Yingling Lager is almost nationwide now. You can find it darn near anywhere. However, Miller has been a solid second position beer for me. I just started in on the Miller High Life. Let me tell you, that is a quality beer right there, and I encourage everybody who's of age to drink to check out the Miller High Life.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's one of the Miller. We don't need to talk about beer again. We don't need to get stuck in that trap. But that 6 machine running there. But I tell you what, Jackson Lewis, the 27, and Kelsey Rogers, they are sitting there still battling it out. It's got to be tough. These guys are going to be battling all race long. Here we are. It's already lap 28 of 75, almost to that halfway mark. As you got to think, it's stretching out. These drivers are stretching the timing. We got about half a second between every car. They're able to keep that sniff of the draft, but you do not want to spend too much time fighting somebody.
Now, what I do see here on our scoring, we're going to take a look back here at Ryan Smith and see what might have happened to him, as it looks like he may have had himself a little bit of an issue here. Ryan Smith in the 50 machine crosses the start-finish line in that Summit Racing machine, comes into turn one, and oh my, that's the end of that one, as it looks like it just snapped on him.
Yeah, but they're going to stay green, and that's what we're talking about. Let's see if he keeps it on the apron. Yeah, we're still green flag racing. He's going to have to limp that thing into the pits, and it might be Ryan Smith's race.
I'm trying to see what might have happened, as it looks like it just snapped. No excuse or no reason. The wheels kept spinning, and it just snapped on going into turn one. Back live now, Jackson Lewis, your race leader, followed by Anthony Donta, Jared Appel, Kelsey Rogers, Grayson Ward rounding out the top five with Jeremy Bingham, Michael Ostiak, Weston Ward, Brody Byer, and Trent Smith rounding out the top 10. James, we've got a heck of a race going. These guys have not given 1 ounce of room to one another, as they're still battling it out. 32 laps of 75 complete, and we're still marching our way toward that checkered flag with no end in sight for some of these battles.
Yeah, but like I said, we're still green. We had that little bit of issue everybody saw. Now the 25 and the 3 car. Oh, gorgeous 3 car battling. Oh, caution is going to come out.
Under
Let's
caution,
see where it
not sure
happened.
where it happened. Looks like Brent Edmonds.
They're going to try and get him back going again quick, so we better find this thing, and I'll let you take a hold of it.
Taking a look here at Brent Edmonds in the 87 machine, involved in an earlier wreck with the 10. He gets on the low side of the 36, and oh, my goodness. That will probably make Kyle Shear not a happy camper, as Brent Edmonds got into that left rear quarter panel. Taking a look back here as we're going to run this back once again, because I'll tell you what, I know Brent Edmonds has to be pretty frustrated, or, because there he is trying to get through traffic. And, believe me, we see way too often, guys getting just a little bit too much on one another, as we come back here on that front nose here of Edmonds. We can see him looking to the inside here on the 36. The 36 comes down, so, maybe in race review later on, they can duke out if one came down, or if Edmonds didn't, clip that left rear. Regardless, that's no way that you want to end your night. Oddly enough, that's going to put Garrett Stracata up here in the 177 atop the pile. And it looks like we've had a round of pit stops. Everybody coming in for some fuel. Papini, and look at Alex Papini. James, he has worked his way up into 6th position.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm telling you, you got to watch Papini. He will make it here. But one of the reasons he made that, did anybody take pits? Yeah, we got some drivers that elected to pit there on lap 34. A lot of folks wanted some tires, which if you look at the tire fall off, it might help you stay on that low line, but I'm not 100% sure what the thought there. Alex Papini's made this gamble before, and we know for a fact he could do it again and make something happen, but he's got a pack of wolves behind him.
Well, Alex Papini, with skill the way that I've seen it, at least statistically with him, he puts himself in that Bentley Glazer from Western States Racing League. He puts himself in that echelon sim racer. I mean, some of these guys are just out here always lurking. You know, whether they're leading or just barely outside the lead. I mean, sixth position for a driver like Papini is not that big of a hurdle to have to jump, you know, when you're patient. And, you know, we talk about patience all year long. And I mean, this race here, 75 laps, obviously not a full-length race per se. But speaking of full-length races, we do have some full-length racing coming to our airwaves in a couple of weeks as the Sunday night NASCAR crew is getting ready to go 100% full length, James.
One moment here.
Thanks, James. I'll take it from here. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have...
I apologize. We're getting that green flag, but yeah, Sunday night NASCAR coming up, Monday night NASCAR, Tuesday night trucks. It's going to be an absolute blast. As Garrett Sertoka going to have the button with Jared Appel on the outside. And it's going to be a good run from here. These guys are going to be drag racing through to turn one to try and get that whole shot and have the advantage.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, we're starting to think about, you know, strategies here. Was this enough? Was that enough? You know, at this point, all of the cards have been laid out on the table. These drivers have shown what type of driving they're going to be exhibiting all night long. You know, we've seen a couple of drivers be a little aggressive, maybe a little too early, but with a bump from the 18, the 177 of Garrett Stracata is pushed along across the start-finish line, and we are back at green flag racing here at Rockingham. Stracata goes single file with Michael Ostiak in the 18, that Valvoline machine. Oh, and that was an interesting move as well. It looks like maybe he's having some kind of connection issue. We've got a little bit of a blinker, and all of a sudden the 177 and the 151 of Jared Appel made contact. We're back under caution as it looks like once again Brent Edmonds has been some kind of a problem.
Yes, we're under the replay right now. Not sure. There we go. As that was odd. The 177 just kind of slowed down there. Maybe trying to not have to deal with those internet issues. That was something where I don't know what was going on with Mr. Stratoka there. That quite a slowdown of the pole.
Well, and taking a look once again at Brett Edmonds here in the 87 machine, we're going to go ahead and hit play and zoom in right on him. As you know, this machine has seen better days, if you will. That sheet metal all crinkled on the front of this late model machine as he comes down the backstretch into 3, and the whole car just doesn't stop rotating. And my goodness, I have to believe that this has to be close to the end of this night.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things though is they're gonna be able to. He's gonna be in the back. He's a lap down. It sucks, but it's part of it. You know, you made the show. Get them hauled up. Get ready to head to next week, where we will be at. Let me check for these drivers here. They're going to be at Hickory Motor Speedway for Twin 75. So we got twins next week. And that's where you got to holler up and try and get there.
A lot of history in this league, as of course Hickory being revived, you know, by iRacing, and a huge movement from the NASCAR community. Of course, you know, this year our All-Star race going to be held there at North Wilkesboro, another historic track. You know, iRacing, and of course there's one particular driver or former driver, Hall of Famer, who has really pushed the historic tracks. And you know, I think NASCAR is getting back to those roots, those southeastern roots. And I'll tell you what, it gets me excited to see some of these places again, because I shouldn't even say again, for me, being a Yankee, as you so lovingly observed earlier. Affectionately put it. You know, I didn't get to see a lot of those races in the Southeast because it wasn't until 2000 when we had, or 2001 when we had nationally televised races every single week. You know, when a lot of the corporate side of NASCAR took over and got rid of some of those historic tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's up there in Cave Duncan. This is up there as one of those just really iconic tracks. Rockingham, I believe it's still I mean, they're still racing at
It
Rockingham.
is a sports and entertainment complex. They do still have races here in Rockingham, North Carolina, and I'm the first to say that every year when I go down to Myrtle Beach to see my mom, you know, I see the sign that points toward Rockingham, I lied, Darlington, and I think, well, I could go to Darlington, and on the way down 95, you see the signs that are pointing toward Rockingham, and I'm thinking, well, that'd be exciting too. You know, it's just, this is part of that cradle of NASCAR.
Absolutely. Is that pace car going to be ready to dive down once they get out of 3 and 4 as they exit turn number 2? But another fun fact: what racing movie was filmed mostly here at Rockingham? And I'll give you a couple laps to the chat to figure that out. You can guess which racing movie was shot here at Rockingham Speedway. I will, I don't know, you'll get bonus points from me and Dave. But Michael Ostick, pace lights are off. You can be seeing fly a restart here. So that 18 car still having those connectivity issues. He is going to have the button, have the ability. Once that pace truck leaves the racing surface, he is gone. He's going to try and take off there. Grant Chitoka not too far behind. Brody Byer, Jared Appel, 3rd and 4th with Alex Papini up there. Something's going on with the 36 machine. He's voicing displeasure. Kyle Shear. But the 177, there we go. Kyle Shear, something on that restart. He did not enjoy. This is where we're going to see, are those tires going to help out, or is it going to hurt Alex Papini? Oh, it looks like Alex Papini did come down pit road that last time around, so he got tires. The only one without him is Jared Appel. As we're
taking a look at the replay here, where the 36, there's the frustration. He got rear-ended by the 077 of Mike Witters, as Witters just trying to bump him along on the restart. Of course, it was almost like an accordion. It's like polka hour here in North Carolina.
Yes,
polka
there's another
northeastern version of country music.
I like. Thank you. I like that. As we have another yellow flag right now. Not sure what's going on.
Jaden Dahlberg involved this time around. Let's take a look. As we see Jaden Dahlberg in the 036. Oh my. He just gets loose coming out of 2, can't corral it, and spins himself down into the wall. And the car had nosed just barely enough in the rear-facing direction that iRacing automatically throws that yellow flag. But hopefully we can see these drivers get themselves reorganized as we get ready to rack them and stack them again. Yes, polka music, the country music of the Northeast.
Well, it is. I love that. I think country music is the country music of the Northeast. But that was quite a save, actually, by that driver, because that car could have been bad. Yeah.
Polka is bluegrass. It's bluegrass.
Bluegrass is bluegrass.
It's bluegrass with an accordion.
Anyways,
don't make me go get Trapasso.
Chat, we need you guys. We need you guys in here to settle this thing. But yeah, definitely a great save by that car. That could have been a lot worse for that driver, and they were able to get that thing back to where it needed to be.
One thing I want to do real quick here, as we're still under caution, is I'm going to look here from the cockpit of Garrett Stracata, and you know, something that we need to keep an eye on is the connection issues that Ostiak is having. When we go green, we're going to watch Ostiak starting to blink in and out just as he's doing now, and it's obviously a connection issue. It's nothing that he's doing in the car, but
no, the kid's on the tablet upstairs, and that's it could be affected. Anything can affect that bandwidth.
Screen time. But you know, here's the thing: as the driver here of the 177, Garrett Stracata, you know, he's at a point right now where that's frustrating to be sitting behind Ostiak, who, you know, Ostiak has every right to be up there in the lead, but it's frustrating because you're never sure where he's going to reappear.
Yeah, and they're definitely there's definitely some frustration. We can already hear the drivers talking about it some frustration in the chat. There's some frustration as now Alex Papini and Jackson Lewis are in 5th and 6th. And what did I tell you? Watch these guys. The Jared Appel, Alex Papini, Jackson Lewis. They're here and they are ready to get things fired up. But it's going to be something when you get up there and that connection issue. If you don't fix that issue, you're liable to end the race, and there is a points penalty for that as well. So it looks like, you know, it's stabilized under yellow, but that's just unacceptable. We got to do something about that. Hard to do, and of course it sucks if your kid or your wife is watching Netflix while you're trying to race, but very unfortunate for the 18 machine there, as I assume he's going to be parked here shortly. But the 177, Garrett Stroga, he's on the outside. He's got to take the advantage and try and go as fast as he can to get around that 18 machine, because every time that he blinks, iRacing is going to take the steering direction, the last input that he used, and it's going to use that to try and determine where he is on the track. So racing around him is going to be dangerous for these drivers, and that's just something you got to worry about. That's part of the game, right? That's part of this racing that makes it so real, is dealing with these specific issues. They're lined up, ready to go. Off to it is the 18 of Michael Ostick. He drops to the bottom with the 177 on the outside. Brody Byer, Jared Appel, Jackson Lewis, Alex Papini shortly in tow, and they're going to have to figure out how to get around this car if they can't fix that issue. Brody Byer, look at the save.
My goodness, what a save. And we just happened to be riding along with him as I was trying to get a good view of where he was as far as sitting behind Ostiak, and my goodness, Brody Byer gets hammered 4 spots and is now running in 6th position, but Garrett Stricata getting ready to make the run here in the 177 as he is about to be pushed around by Alex Papini, who has come to life here with 25 laps to go as he is working the inside
behind
of
him.
Stricata, and Jared
They're
Appel
wrecking behind him. Caution's going to come out. That was Jackson Lewis, one of the fastest cars on the track. He got involved in that last one. Corey Rogers involved. Eric White in the 6 machine, he was up there. Tyler Deshane going to jump to the pits. That was a big one, Dave.
It sure was, and just as we look here, we see the 7 machine, or the 151, get up onto the wall. He comes down and clips the 7 of Jackson Lewis. And you know what? I've got a 4-year-old. He's about to be 5 next month, and I'll tell you what, it looks like he just took his Hot Wheels cars and spun them all around on the kitchen floor. We're going to take one more look at this, as once again, just a heck of a rough race. Take a look at it from the blimp, as we're going to see all of these cars. Like I said, it's just like a kid threw these around the kitchen floor. As we come out of turn 1 and into 2, this is where the trouble begins. My goodness. There's more than 10, 15 cars involved in that particular wreck.
That's and from the blimp, what a great shot there. That you usually don't get these. Usually a self-cleaning track with that banking, but that was rough. A lot of vehicles involved in that. It looks like most of these drivers, that's going to be very hurtful for Jackson Lewis. It's Alex Papini. He started in the back. Now he's back up to 2nd place. Big points night for him. Michael Ostick, I got to think, if the league owner's behind you and you are blinking as bad as the 18 machine, you better be yelling at everybody, get off the Wi-Fi, because you're about to get kicked from the service if you got the league owner behind you blinking and causing trouble. Which that didn't have anything to do with the last wreck, but it's something definitely to think about moving forward here.
It definitely does not help the situation, but we're 23 to go. I mean, in a lot of races that we see in other leagues on the iRacing.com servers, 23 to go, especially in the public servers, maybe you think that you've got plenty of time, but right now you're 2/3 of the way through this piece, and we're in that final trimester, if you will, of the race. And I'll tell you what, this baby's getting ready to come home. It's going to go Ostiak, Papini, Stricata, Byer, Donta, Sargent, Smith, Sergeant Smith, that's not a thing. I'm sorry for you, sir, who gets to wear camo this week. But Trent Smith, Kelsey Rogers, Gleason Smith, and Brett McCoy in that Uno car here, of course, painted with a 36 this week in the prototype machine. I'll tell you what, again, with a lot of these paint schemes, I love them. I absolutely do. There's that City Chevrolet right here.
Yeah, a lot of good paint schemes. Unfortunately, we already talked about one of them, that 151. He's out of it. But that X1, that's actually based off his real-life ride. So that's really cool. These guys are able to get on here and get the paints in that match the real-life ride. Again, of course, I'd like to shout out for one last time, probably not the last time for us, but Ritchie Smoking Barbecue. If you're in Machesney Park, Illinois, you got to give these guys a try, man. Up there up north, it's hard to get good barbecue. Head over there, give them a call. Of course, their number's in the description, and they will hook you up right with some good Southern barbecue.
You know, we had talked earlier about barbecue, and you said that they even do mail order. Is mail order even a thing?
No, don't put lies in my mouth, Dave. They don't do mail order. You can order it, and somebody can mail it to you. It's not mail order. They're not going to send you some barbecue.
Then I misunderstood. Just don't forget the coleslaw.
Now you could. Exactly. Order that coleslaw, overnight it, make sure you get it soon, but yeah, they'll get it to you. Jerky's probably a better way to go.
I mean, Valentine's Day's coming up. Nothing says Happy Valentine's Day like a pound of jerky. As Michael Ostiak takes the green flag, we're back underway, diving into turn one, single file. About the first 5 cars side by side goes Randy Sargent, and oh my! Bites a piece of wall, does the 25 of Brody Byers. Oh, the crash! Brody Byers on his side, on his roof, running over top of, my God. Mayhem is hiding everywhere, if you will. And Race Radio is on fire. Take a look here at this wreck here.
Fired up in the chat, ain't they?
Yeah, things seem to be getting a little heated up. Thank goodness we're not broadcasting that particular sound.
Absolutely not. Well, you go ahead and run through this replay. I'll step right back.
Taking a look here at this replay once again, all kinds of hell has broken loose, if you will, as we're going to take a look here at Trent Smith from his perspective. And it just looks like the 25 of Brody Byer gets into the wall, and just we wind up going 3 wide with the 510 of Anthony Donta. The one car, and that's when all of a sudden everybody's going to be tearing up their equipment. And at this point, you're probably tearing at your face too, because you know we are late in this race, 57 laps complete, and you know we're at a point now where you don't want to see that. You know, a lot of times we wind up in situations where, as we're going to bring this once again from the blimp, we're going to watch the 25 here. The 25 is going to roll out of the turn. He gets loose, tries to bring it back, and just simply can't. The X1 machine getting bumped up by the 510 into the 25, and it just, boom goes the dynamite from there. And I'll tell you what, if you're an insurance adjuster, this is definitely the place to be, as there's definitely a lot of money to be had if you're in the insurance game. As Michael Ostiak once again going to be your race leader as we come back live with 19 laps to go. He's going to be followed by Alex Papini, your points leader. Garrett Stracata, who has been up front all day long, has gained 24 positions. Started tonight in 27th, worked his way up here onto the inside of row number 1, going to be restarting in 3rd position. Kelsey Rogers in 4th, Weston Ward in 5th, Jalen Dahlberg in 6th, Eric White in 7th, DJ Smith in 8th, and now we've got some guys coming out of pit road, going to look like Kyle Shear and Gleason Smith. And Smith's going to have to get around Kyle Shear, so he's going to restart 9th. So things have definitely gotten a little crazy here late in the race with now 18 laps to go. The iRacing.com pace truck getting his exercise tonight is that Silverado going to be leading everyone through turn 3 and getting ready to turn those lights out. And, you know, we talk about this all the time. You know, make sure that you're here with us on Sim Racing Media, as we've got just about 6 nights of racing, so's it is. And, you know what? This is not even our busy season, so to speak. You know, a lot of racing leagues here on the iRacing.com servers, they start their league year the same time that real-life NASCAR does. And basically, we've got Sunday night NASCAR. That's going to be the Cup Series. Monday night NASCAR going to be Xfinity. And Tuesday night trucks also going to be, well, obviously on a Tuesday, but they mirror the NASCAR schedule. So a lot of racing just in those 3 nights alone, plus Wednesday, Thursday, and some Friday and Saturday leagues. I mean, it's just about 7 nights of the week. James, are you back yet? Nope. I'll keep going.
Dave, give me a couple more. They're going to get started. 17 laps to go. I'll come back in at 10, brother.
All right. So anyway, I guess I'm going to vamp for another 7 laps here as Michael Ostiak, following the iRacing.com pace truck into turn number 3, as we're going to get ready to go back green flag racing here. Reach way up there, pull those belts tight. We've got 16 to go at the line, and we're green flag racing once again here at Rockingham, North Carolina. The crew comes down into turn number 1. We roll into 2, and everybody is gunning for position. Nobody looking for any kind of help here, as every man is out for himself right now as they're just getting wound back up. Take a look at Michael Ostiak. Obviously, he's gotten those connection issues settled in. Alex Papini in close pursuit here, as Papini chasing him down within 13/10 of a second. Now just 14. And Kelsey Rogers about 3/4 of a second behind Papini, as Papini looking for the lead. He gets to the inside of Michael Ostiak. Ostiak in the Valvoline machine has to go high. He's forced up there as the American Rental Center number 28 charges to the front. We've got a new race leader. His name is Alex Papini. He is driven from the back of the field and is now battling for the lead here as he's on the high side, got a little tight, falls back into line, and we roll out of turn 2, and he's not done yet. Just as Alex Papini here in the number 28 American Rental Machine chases him down one more time into 3. He's got a run on Michael Ostiak. Ostiak doing his best to hold him off, but I'm pretty sure Papini's going to try to take him here in the section of this track. He looks to the inside, and Papini has the edge going into 1. As long as he can roll this turn out, he's got a chance to slide as, oh, Ostiak bites the wall. That opens the door for Papini to take the lead nice and secure, and Kelsey Rogers in the 136 pay-to-win Chevrolet Impala looks to the inside now. And now we've got a 1-2 combo as Kelsey Rogers in the 136 pay-to-win Chevrolet is up here running in second position. Alex Papini, your points leader, up here making things happen. That was an exciting set of laps there. Now as we settle in once again, Kelsey Rogers taking the bull by the horns, if you will. That front right fender are crinkled up, but not ready to give up yet, as Weston Ward here in the 5 still chasing down Ostiak. We've got battles all over the racetrack, but right now the closest we're getting is right here between Ostiak and Rogers. Jaden Dahlberg just now trying to get himself around Eric White as they're going to play do-si-do coming through the front stretch. Dahlberg
Let's see who has
together.
Who has the freshest tires, right? DJ Smith, unfortunately, he got caught in some issues, but Dahlberg and White still fighting here. 36 and the 6 side by side. Those tires are old. See the 36 trying to hold down. Oh, he's going to get in that apron. That's going to unsettle that car. Oh, look, the 6 just trying to hold him off. Does so, gets him in the rear view mirror as we're shaping up final 10 laps. You're alert, guys. We got a little bit left to go. Are we live, Dave, on the race? There we go, lap 67. Yeah. So, and in the 36, oh boy, but you called it. The people in the stands called it. The fans that are watching, the 28 is pulling away. these guys were in trouble. Papini has shown that he will come through the field. He does not care. He's going to do it safely. He's not been involved in any big accidents that I've seen this year, which is something that you cannot say for everybody, as that Ritchie Smoking Barbecue machine tries to get to the bottom, get out of the raceway. But see if the 36 is going to be able to catch him. This is the closest battle on the track, closest battle for points. Has a little bit of smoke there, as the 136 is not letting the 28 go. We thought he was pulling away, but since this is essentially it's not a super speedway, but it is a much bigger track, these guys are going to have to... Oh, a little bit of fight here. The 18 to 5, 18 trying to work to the bottom. He had those issues, and now it looks like he's got them under control, as he's going to get on that left rear, try and put some air on that little tiny bumper. Not going to do much of it. Oh, they get together. They touch, nothing doing. Luckily, if these tires... Oh, I'm sorry, but but as we were looking at that, if you're watching those, big caution. What's the wreck?
I don't see a caution yet. Green flag. As Michael Ostiak was there, they were fender to fender coming through the backstretch, and Ostiak wants to try to finish as well as he can today. Of course, that's everybody's goal. But right now, Alex Papini leading this piece.
A draft coming into play.
To go. Oh my, is
Kelsey Rogers is not going to let him go easy. He's going to try and apply some pressure, going to try and fight to get to the back rear, just see him working that wheel, trying to stay as close as possible, as he doesn't want to get there too soon. You don't want to try and work that inside. As we saw that contact earlier, if you go back and watch the replay at home, not us, because we're focusing on this lead, but if you watch it, these two, if these tires touch in these cars, it is almost a death sentence. These body model is not like NASCAR, where there's not much give in those bumpers. These will give, and those tires will rub and turn somebody really quickly, as Jaden Dahlberg fighting with Eric. But the 136, I gotta think, is he giving it all right here, Dave, do you think, or is he kind of keeping a little bit of a gap to try and make a run here? Because we've seen him get close, but he loses it in 1 and 2 almost every single time. He's quicker out of 3 and 4, but that 1 and 2 is where he's going to have to make up some time. As we have, there you go, looks at that rear bumper, applying some pressure, but we know Alex Papini, with the popsicle sticks in the air, Alex Papini, he's used to the pressure. I mean, he's used to it. That J-Ray's Jerky on the back left, we appreciate them coming on, as well as Ritchie Smoking Barbecue. But 2 to go, as we're going to see if he's able to make it. 2 battles on track here for position right next to each other. We got 4th and 5th and 1st.
This is going to be the move. I think Kelsey Rogers was back here trying to see, at this point, he was basically trying to experiment and see what kind of a run. If he's going to make the move, it's into 3. He's got to do it. And it looks like he's going to make an attempt here. He's just within less than a bumper length, side by side. And Kelsey makes contact and gets down onto the apron. Does he get it together? Oh, gosh, this is way too close. Alex Papini being scored by iRacing as your winner, with Kelsey Rogers finishing second. What a finish. We have to go back and take a look at that right now.
0.04 seconds is what's going to finish that. Literally a camera finish. Good run by the 36. If he didn't get loose there, he has the win. What a finish. Alex Papini taking it away. Kelsey Rogers coming in a very close second.
Taking a look at this finish yet again, you're absolutely right. If it doesn't get loose, that's where it ends. And we're going to just slow this down as much as we can, because my goodness, look at this. Right about, right there. My goodness. That is less than a door handle away.
Absolutely. Is Alex Papini going to burn it down? He's doing the burnouts. We want to make sure and get that. He's done it before, but that's going to put him over the top. He's got the same amount of wins now as the number 7 of Jackson Lewis, as he has earned it, parked it in victory lane. What a absolute finish. It never ceases to amaze me how these guys will make it to the end and still be battling, as it looks like Kelsey Rogers just too little too late. able to not make it happen with Papini there.
Absolutely. Taking a look right now, trying to get everybody lined up. James, I believe that you do have our race winner, Mr. Papini, there with you in victory lane.
Absolutely. He earned it, came in and battling Alex. Congratulations on the win.
Hey, thank you, man. I'd have never thought that this was this where we were going to be sitting by about lap 20 there, but it's crazy how things kind of come your way when you stay persistent and just be clean, you know.
Absolutely, and that's one thing I want to talk to you about is not knowing as you were behind of course the connectivity issues up front with Ostick. Luckily, he was able to figure that out. But Kelsey Rogers, he was in the rearview mirror, but was he not applying enough pressure? Were you just focused out the front, or did you have to do a little bit of defensive driving there to keep him under you?
Well, what happened there was, you know, we were starting dead last. I knew it since last week. I knew I was leading points by 3 points. I knew that strategy had a chance to play into my favor, and I'd been running scenarios through my head the whole week on what to do, and I had planned on pitting the first caution and packing the car full of fuel and staying out and kind of seeing what happened. Well, that caution, there's a bunch of guys confused towards the back, and we never got bunched up enough for me to come in and take fuel. So that single file restart kind of hurt me there, being back way far. And you know, the furthest I could get, I think, was 13th or something, that one long run we had, and the leader was checked out. So I was pretty worried about that. We come in and the boys put 2 tires on her, and we come out of the pits in 6th. So that was kind of the game plan at that point. And I knew the 136, Kelsey Rogers is a former champion of the All-Pro Super Late Series. He's a hard charger. I knew he'd be coming. He was on 4 tires, and I was assholes and elbows in there just trying to hang onto the thing them last probably 7 or 8 laps or so.
Absolutely.
I knew he'd race me clean, but he was coming, and knowing the point situation, I was trying to be smart, but anybody that knows me knows I'm not giving up a damn win. So very cool to do it from dead last tonight.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to do it again next week, Alex. But you talk about, the pucker factor is you picked up some seat there on that last turn as he threw it down there below you. Were you just all out, and that's what pulled you up, or were you just trying to get that run off of 4?
Well, go back to 2001, the week after Dale Earnhardt passed away, and I watched Steve Park rim ride the outside and beat Bobby Labonte to the start-finish line here for the win. So, if anything, I was kind of trying to block the air on the outside to make sure he couldn't get that huge run on me. And I almost cost myself the race by doing it, but lucky enough, we got just a good enough run off of Fort to beat him there. That might not have been the best decision to give him the bottom, but you know, with about 4 to go, I seen him coming, and that's kind of what crossed my mind was, well, I'm going to do what Steve Park would do, and I almost gave it away there.
Yeah, well, you did, and you made it through. Again, congratulations on the win, Alex. Who you want to shout out? I know we got that Myers 28 machine. Tell us about it and who keeps it going here at the All-Pro Sim Winter Heat Series.
Well, really just a big, huge thanks to Ritchie Smoking Barbecue for helping us put this deal on. We've had a hell of a turnout so far this year for the first season. 80% of these guys are real racers, whether they're drivers or pit crew members. Very grateful for all of them racing with us and putting on a show. I know there's a bunch of people back up north at home that enjoy watching this, so thank you to you guys for the great job you do. Thank you to them sponsors, and then like you said before, this is a Jim Weber throwback car who passed away probably 3 or 4 years ago, and a super late Arco Series champion around the Midwest fan favorite for long. So thank you to everybody that's watching. Thank you, Sim Racing Media. Thank you, Ritchie Smoking Barbecue and J Ray's Jerky. I hope we can keep it going here the next 4 weeks we got left, or 3 weeks. This has been a blast.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations, Alex, and hopefully, I'm sure we will be talking to you again next week, sir.
Yes, and hey, happy late heavenly birthday to my dad last week. I think he'd have been 63 years old. To win 2 in a row right around his birthday is pretty freaking cool. So thank you guys.
There you have it from the winner. As no, we got fans in the stands, and we always have fans up top that watch us race. So we do appreciate that shout out, as that's what we do it for, right, Dave?
Absolutely. I mean, the race doesn't end when the checkered flag waves. There's always something more, and it's always nice when we can feel those people and be, in touch with those folks. And I believe I don't have the ability to, so I can't drag Kelsey Rogers up here, James.
You know what? I can. Let's go ahead, Dave. I believe you have Kelsey Rogers here. The
Kelsey
second
Rogers,
place finish.
Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy? Kelsey Rogers, Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Whoops, sorry guys. Can you hear me now?
Good. Oh, see, those commercials were out about the same time Rockingham was getting ready to go off the NASCAR schedule. So, listen, Kelsey, heck of a finish there to this race tonight. I mean, listen, we were watching you start to toy with Papini about the last 3 laps where you were just kind of testing that draft and seeing, how far you could suck up to that rear bumper. Obviously, you had enough, and maybe had you not gotten loose coming out of 4, you could have given him the edge, or you could have edged him out. I'm sorry, but how was that car feeling all night long?
Yeah, it was pretty fun to come and run here tonight. It's kind of out of the ordinary. I know officials come to this place every once in a while, so it was fun. Get a little speedway racing in the late model. Shout out to Alex. He raced a good race tonight. We just couldn't quite get him. I think if we had maybe another lap or two, just with the way the restarts fell, I wasn't able to get on his bumper, and when I did, I just didn't have enough time. So shout out to him. I know it was his dad's birthday last week, so big win there, and yeah, just feels good to survive that one.
Yeah, I guess survival is definitely the name of the game. I mean, Papini able to drive all the way from the back of the field. Now, you yourself, sir, I mean, you were up 6 positions, starting in the top 10, nice and comfy, but traffic was definitely a little dicey getting through this piece, as we had so many cautions that a lot of them took out huge chunks of the field. Were you finding yourself just trying to survive, or were you able to just stay ahead of everybody?
I mean, we started up front in the first half of the race, and everybody played pretty nice. We came down pit road. I took 4 tires. Ultimately, I think, 2 tires won the race, so it's not the way to go. But a lot of guys took 2 tires, stayed out on strategy. After that, you just kind of had to take what you got. You knew things would get dicey with the varying strategies, so you just kind of had to take it as it come. We had some really close calls. Probably should have ended up in the garage, but we made it through and finished second. But yeah, it was all about managing. There wasn't really any attack until we got on Alex's bumper. I think I ran my quickest lap of the race, like with 3 to go.
Absolutely, sir. And, now looking next week toward Hickory, I mean, getting back to some more NASCAR roots, if you will, here in the late model series. What are you thinking about getting back to those short tracks, especially something as intimate as Hickory?
Yeah, Hickory's tough. We've got a lot of guys in here that I don't know how much experience they're going to have at Hickory's. I think some of them will probably have to go by the track. So that'll add an element to it. But I think we'll be all right. It'll be a good race. It's a good short track. It's a rough track. You can race 2x2 there. It's just a matter of how nice do people want to be to do it. So we'll just have to see.
Absolutely, man. And before we cut you loose, is there anybody else that you want to tip your helmet to and thank for this run tonight?
Yeah, Ritchie Smoke and Barbecue for sponsoring the series. Thanks to you guys for broadcasting. That's a big favor. And then Pay to Win setup. So if you're ever looking for a setup, head over to paytowin.com and they can hook you up on the iRacing service.
Absolutely, man. Listen, I myself am a Pay to Win user, and I love them. They're great for late models. They're great for the A and Bs as well. So absolutely, make sure that you head over there to Pay to Win setups. Kelsey, thank you for the time. We appreciate you. We will see you next week at Hickory.
Awesome, guys. Good talking to you, and thank you.
Well, James, since I don't see Weston Ward, I believe that we can say that this is another one in the books here for Ritchie's Smoke and Barbecue Late Model Series.
Absolutely. Again, we'd like to thank those everyone for coming out, everyone in the stands. We appreciate the heck out of you. And yeah, we're gonna send it off, guys. I appreciate the heck out, of course, Ritchie Smoking Barbecue, J Ray's Hickory Smoked Jerky. As Dave, go ahead and run through our final results and then send it off, sir.
Absolutely. Of course, so your race winner, Alex Papini, is joined on the podium by Kelsey Rogers and Weston Ward, finishing 1, 2, 3. Michael Ostiak battled through some connection issues to finish himself there in 4th position. Eric White rounding out the top 5 with Jaden Dahlberg, Garrett Stracata, DJ Smith, Kyle Shear, Gleason Smith rounding out the top 10. Then the remainder of the field, Jeremy Bingham, Grayson Ward, Brett McCoy, Ed Papineau in 14th, Brody Byer, of course, who was involved in an earlier wreck, Kevin Knudsen in 16th, Randy Sargent in 17th, Anthony Donta in 18th, Trent Smith and Jackson Lewis rounding out the top 20 with Mike Witters, Corey Rogers, Tyler Deshane, Jared Appel, Brent Edmonds, who had just continual problems all evening long, with Ryan Smith, Carter Nilsson, and Zach Braun rounding out the field. Of course, Nilsson and Braun not getting a full lap in tonight, but it has been one heck of a race, and we just want to make sure that we're thanking you folks at home for everything that you do and supporting us and everything that we're doing here at Sim Racing Media. Make sure that you're tuning into us every night of the week. Subscribe to Sim Racing Media, give us a thumbs up, and follow us on YouTube.com. Of course, you can also check us out on Facebook and Twitter. So look for Sim Racing Media everywhere online. And for Mr. James Riles and myself, Dave Regal, we want to thank you for making us a part of your evening and making us a part of your racing life. And as you go through life, remember tomorrow, take that one happy moment and hold on to it and have a good day. Good night, everybody.